Neal McCoy started his professional music career as an opening act for Charley Pride over 30 years ago. He's seen plenty of commercial success and radio airplay with his hits Wink and Billy's Got His Beer Goggles On. He's performed for our troops overseas over 15 times, which has earned him a spot on the top 10 USO entertainers of all time. Now he's back with new music which was produced by a few of his good friends, Brent Rowan, Shelton, and Miranda Lambert, who coincidentally back him up on a song or two. Lynn caught up with Neal to learn all about his new album.
You put on the most energetic, best show I think I've ever seen. I love all of that on stage.
Thank you. You have good taste, I can tell already. Well, thank you. We still, and we think we still do. We think we're as good as anybody out there on the stage. And now we're just trying to maybe try and get some radio to play us again to where we can let the new folks kind of find out who we are and more about us, so where they'll come see us. But I appreciate the compliment, and we work hard out there.
Yeah, you do. Now, as far as a radio single, you've got one with A-OK. What a great song. I heard that this morning, and it's got a little flair of, who does the whistling in it?
That's me. And it's much easier to do in the studio because it's quiet. If you've never tried to whistle when in a show, while the band's playing, you can't do it. So I actually, in the show, I started by whistling, but then in the middle of it, I have our drummer push a button that makes a fake whistle do it, because you can't do it. It's when it's loud and everything. Yeah, if you try to whistle too loud, it just, nothing comes out. So.
All right, so you let the whistle be whistled and you sing your song.
Right.
And now this song was written by Brett Eldridge and Luke Laird and
Barry Dean.
Barry Dean, yes, those guys actually wrote Take a Back Road. They've had a lot of big hits lately.
They have, and I think it's a really good song. You know, we're not having as much luck with it at radio as we hoped we would. It's just one of those things. It could be, I don't think it's a song, could be me. I hadn't been played in a while, but I think it's a great song. Blake brought it to me. Blake Shelton brought it to me. He sent it to me and said when we kind of figured out we were going to be working together on this project, Blake said, "Hey man, I think this is going to be your Don't Worry, Be Happy."
All right.
You know, with the whistle and the attitude.
Yeah.
And I said, boy, I sure hope so. I could use one. So it's not doing as well as we hoped it would, but I still think it's a great song, and it's fun for the listeners, and it's what people expect from Neal McCoy. It's an up-tempo kind of feel-good song. It's gonna be A-O, A-O, A-O-K.
You mentioned Blake Shelton helped pick out the song. He and his wife Miranda actually produced this whole album with you and Brent Rowan.
They did. Yeah, they were involved in it, and the great part about it is they brought me some wonderful music, you know, that probably I wouldn't have been able to get my hands on because we've kind of been out of the game, and they're right in the middle of it. I mean, they're as hot as anybody, those two at country radio and country music, and not just country music. I mean, they're doing terrific, and I was really lucky that they brought some great music and then went in the studio with me. And I think the really cool thing about Blake and Miranda is that they're great kids, and I understand why they're so successful, because they can sit here and shuck and jive and, you know, and do all the shenanigans you want to pull, but then when it comes down to business in the studio, when it's time to hit that downbeat and stuff, they know what they're doing in there, and they've got great minds, and they had some great suggestions. And of course Brent Rowan along with them is a great ear and great guitar player, and we're really proud of the project. You know, we're excited about the new album coming out, and hopefully we can run a single up the charts where people remember or find out who we are.
Come on, baby, be my shotgun rider. Cruise through the country, maybe pulling all-nighter.
What other song on there do you think may come at radio at some point that we want to talk about? What's going to come next?
Well, it's
after we work this one all the way to the top. A-OK, right?
That's right. It's going to sound like this is a setup because we just talked about a Dallas Davidson song. But there's another Dallas Davidson song on the project that I'm hoping and I'm pulling for to be the next single, called Shotgun Rider.
Isn't that great?
It's a great song. Feels like a Neal McCoy song, and I think it's a smash. And my daughter, and you and I were talking off camera about kids, but my daughter's 25, and I've always used her and my wife as a sounding board, because they tell me the truth. You know, I want to come home and convince them that every song I just put on the album is great, and they sometimes say, nah, not so quick. I'll tell you the great ones. And my daughter did. She said Shotgun Rider has to be a single, because she said that's going to be your biggest hit on there. So I'm hoping that she's right again. My wife's only picked 2 records in my career, and we've been married over 31 years, and she picked a song called The Shake, which was a huge hit for us, and then she picked a song called Billy's Got His Beer Goggles On.
Love that song. It's so funny.
I do too. And that's the only 2 she's even messed with. Anything else, she'll just go, it's okay. So she was only on 2 songs, and so my daughters picked Shotgun Rider. So Shotgun Rider will be a single, and I hope that she's right, and I think it'll be a big hit.
Come on, baby, be my shotgun. Come on, baby, be my shotgun rider.
That's not all the music we have in this week's show. We've got a rising East Texas star coming up next, so make sure to keep it right here on Inside Music Row. We'll be right back.